Hello, hello. Okay. 3, 2, 1. In 1946, the people of Cleveland gave a football team its name, and Browns Nation was born. For generations, we've witnessed great hits, great runs, and have enjoyed game day with legends. Renew your membership today to be a part of our 75th anniversary celebration and enjoy your membership all year long with exclusive access and opportunities. Don't miss out. Again, 3, 2, 1. In 1946, the people of Cleveland gave a football team its name, and Browns Nation was born. For generations, we've witnessed great hits, great runs, and have enjoyed game day with legends. Renew your membership today to be a part of our 75th anniversary celebration and enjoy your membership all year long with exclusive access and opportunities. Don't miss out. One more. 3, 2, 1. In 1946, the people of Cleveland gave a football team its name, and Browns Nation was born. For generations, we've witnessed great hits, great runs, and have enjoyed game day with legends. Renew your membership today to be a part of our 75th anniversary celebration and enjoy your membership all year long with exclusive opportunities. Don't miss out. Good or bad? Because of the way I read it? So I should do it again? They want, like, that's why the guy, here, listen. Hold on, just listen to this. This is how he wanted me to read it. Did I do that? Okay. Here, let me do one more real fast with my voice. We don't have to? We'll do it in a break. But would you say I read it the way that that sounded? Okay.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Welcome into Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. How you living, buddy?
I'm doing very well here. It's always interesting in the building during a bye week. Very quiet, but this year it's different. Normally everybody gets to get out of town, but they still have to come get tested every day, and so people are around, but it's still very, very quiet. But I'm good here. The sun is out. It's kind of crazy to think, could things have been different last week if the weather was on Sunday like it's going to be this Sunday as it were last Sunday? Although, I still think that weather should have favored us. It did not in this instance. But, boy, what a difference a week makes, I'll tell you. It's kind of wild. It
really is. I mean, it's perfect weather right now, and we kind of have it through the weekend. So, you want to take advantage of that, get outside. And it's one of those instances where, we don't have a game on Sunday. I think Ohio State doesn't play till 7 o'clock on Saturday. You got both days, man. Get out there and live a little bit. Get out there and stretch your legs, live a little bit in this weather, because you're not going to have many of these days left, certainly. It's interesting you say that because the big college football game this weekend is Clemson at Notre Dame.
Yep.
And this is a game that when scheduled, Trevor Lawrence was obviously going to be in this game. He won't be because of COVID. But also you thought, okay, let's have a Southern school, a Southern power, play in the North in November. Well, it's going to be 70 degrees in South Bend on Saturday. So whatever advantages you thought you had, you're not going to have, as this is one of those weekends. It's an anomaly, frankly, but it's absolutely beautiful. Fun program for you guys today. We will go around the league. Our good buddy Jake Burns will step by here in about a half hour at the bottom of the hour. We'll hit our NFL midseason awards in the 2 o'clock hour, and a Thursday edition of the Scores.
The Scores.
Wow.
Good, because we need.
What a
I
real
like
treat.
it. Let's get to it quick. Wasn't pretty. Salvaged some things last week after a disastrous start, but not pretty for either of us.
No, it was bad. It was bad. Bad job. These things happen. Every once in a while, these things happen.
Happens.
The key to this with the Scores is to not panic.
No.
And to not chase. Don't feel like you have to chase.
Or change your methodology. Right.
Don't change methodology. Stay with it. It's worked. It's been effective. As we get into the OBM Hot Topics, Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider of your Cleveland Browns. All the X's and O's for your office. You can call them at 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. We have 8 games to go. And
That's
Gibby wants to know, what is the biggest storyline for this team over the final 8 games?
The biggest storyline is, can this team get into the playoffs and end this playoff drought? I don't care how they get there. Can they get to the playoffs and end this drought? Number one storyline, number one focus, period. You've got 5 wins in the barn already, as I like to say. You probably need, at a minimum, to go 4-4, but I think 5-3 makes it real tidy and nice for you. So I'm looking for 5-3 over the second half of the season. That's it. That's the story. You can get there, by the way, by taking care of business against all of the non-playoff teams remaining on your schedule. Now, Philly could ultimately, I suppose, end up being a playoff team because someone must represent the NFC East, but you've got to take care of your business against what we call now the non-playoff teams. Ideally, you've got 3 for sure playoff teams or most likely playoff teams left. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Tennessee. Pittsburgh and Baltimore at home, Tennessee on the road. Can you win one of those 3 games? Because if you do, it gives you a do-over, as it were, in the other 5. Can you win 2 of them? Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about some serious things. So that's the big storyline. Getting into the playoffs, end of the story. That's it. That's the list. That's all I care about.
That's the list. Yeah, that's it. And I think one thing that that has struck me this week is if you had just flopped the Colts win and the Raiders loss, lose to the Colts when we beat the Colts, and beat the Raiders Sunday, this would all feel very different.
Of course.
There is certainly a stigma with going into the bye on an L. If we were 4-3 going into that Raiders game and beat them and gotten to 5-3, it would feel entirely differently coming out of it. And I think that it's interesting because 5-3, this type of record at this point in the season, and in terms of what's ahead, this type of a chance to meet the playoffs, this is not something that's happened a lot in the last 30 years. It just hasn't. But you have this opportunity to do it. And to me, if you think about the way we were viewing this team at the start of the season, the thing we said was make the playoffs.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
Make the playoffs. 7 AFC teams, be one of them. Be one of them. You're on pace to do that. So there is, as you so eloquently pointed out, you can do that without having to beat one of the great teams. And that's fine. But I also think one of those three, they all either need to be close, competitive games, or you need to win one of them. You've got to win against Tennessee, Baltimore, or Pittsburgh. And the Pittsburgh one could have a different feel to it based on where they are at that time, obviously, as they could have already clinched things at that point, in which case you wouldn't count it the same way that you would if they were playing with their full assortment of weapon talent.
Yeah, it really is a stunning thing in that you could get there with really the Colts being your only win against a what you would call a playoff team on your resume. Doesn't matter. But I think it is critically important. And we're not into, because of what we've accomplished already, we're not into moral victories, right? This isn't a team where we're chasing, we played, we were good, but we were close. I do think you got to beat one of those teams, because how else can you go into the playoffs where, listen, right now, here are the scenarios. If you go in you want to go in as the 6th seed. As the 6th seed, you have a chance to, or 5 seed, you have a chance to really, I think, get an advantageous matchup, right? I don't think the Browns would be concerned about having to face the Titans, the Colts, or the Bills, is what it would look like, right? Or maybe the Dolphins go on to run, who knows? But that notion of going, and if you haven't beaten one of those teams, that you're going to go into Kansas City, into Pittsburgh, or into Baltimore as the 7 seed would be very difficult. Now, people are saying, Nathan, what do you mean? The wild card's not our only path. That's right. But we would have to go 2-0 against the Ravens and the Steelers, which is possible at home, split with those two over the course of the season to start thinking about the AFC North. And you need help. Pittsburgh at this point controls its own destiny. They're 2 ahead of you, and you only get to play them once.
Yeah, and so that is it. So then you say to yourself, as we turn the next page of this conversation into, well, what needs to happen for those things to take place? And there's some improvements that need to happen in terms of how we go about our business game in and game out. Certainly defensively, as we've talked about a lot this week, we've got to be able to get off the field. Some things are going to be improved upon just from the advent of being healthy. I mean, Nick Chubb is going to come back. Wyatt Teller is going to come back. Austin Hooper is going to come back. Jacob Phillips is going to come back. You hope at some point Greedy Williams comes back. Although I don't know, that one's still kind of out there, pretty nebulous. But the rest of those are finite. They will come back, many of them, by the time we play Houston next week.
Yes, and it's stunning to think you have had the starting offensive line of Wills, Bitonio, Treader, Teller, Conklin play exactly 2 full games together out of 8. Think about that for a second. Weeks 3 and 4, that's it. That's the list. That is a stunning thing, because you look at week 1, Wills didn't finish that game. Week 2, Jack Conklin didn't play on Thursday night. 3 and 4, as I said, you had both of those guys. You had all 5 together. By the way, go back and look at the stats from those games. We ran the ball pretty darn effectively. After that, then Teller goes out in the game against the Colts. Teller's out against the Steelers. Teller's out against the Bengals. Teller's out against the Raiders. So you've only had your A offensive line for 2 out of 6 games. You've only had Nick Chubb really for 3 games. He went out early.
3 games.
And he has over 300 yards rushing and 4 rushing touchdowns.
I know. Yeah.
Austin Hooper misses 2 games. Odell's missing out 2 full games.
Yeah, it's and look, no one's going to feel sorry for you.
No.
We're going to talk about the San Francisco and Green Bay situation here in the next segment, where San Francisco it's honestly the replacements. But our injuries are, it's the good news is unlike the 49ers, our injuries are scheduled to return. And so our offense will schedule to return. And the game that you saw against the Raiders, what the Raiders did to us, as we said, they out-ussed us. We're going to be able to out-us other teams, starting with all of those guys coming back. The physicality that this team plays with, the style with which they play, and doing so in inclement weather, like we're going to have a lot of cold games in the second half. There's not a lot of Scottsdale trips on the second half. We're not going to Los Angeles. We're not going to the South. I mean, it is. I know it's a lot of cold weather games here in these last 8. Is there one in a warm weather climate in the last 8?
For us? Jacksonville. End of November. That would be
okay. So
that's
the
big that would have been the big vacation road trip this year.
Yeah.
That's it. Because you have Jacksonville, you have Nashville in December, and then you've got
that'll be cold.
And then you've got New York, start spreading the news. Yeah, you've got that back to back around Christmas.
You there at the holidays? What a real treat.
I used to be there all the time for that. It was great. There's nothing like walking around Manhattan when the snow is falling. They've got those stars that are kind of like hung across the main streets up in like in upper midtown and Upper East Side. Just tremendous. Upper West Side, I should say.
It really is. Yeah. The Duval trip for you would have been the Duval-Jacksonville trip could have been a Sawgrass trip for you.
It was the first time. I don't know if I can guarantee it would not have been the same trip that I had last time. That I can promise you. But
that you could promise me.
I don't know if I'll ever have another trip like that.
You played that course?
Yeah.
Me too. Did you? What did you think? I think it's overrated.
Just like every Florida course, nothing special at all. 17 is awesome. 16, 17, and 18 are all awesome.
18's a full day, but the rest of it, I thought it's fine.
Pretty mundane.
It's fine. Yeah. Yep.
Pretty.
You put it on, of course you did. You're ridiculous.
On 17?
Of course. What'd you make?
So I birdied. I hit 16 and 2 with bombs, which is bananas.
Right. Yes.
Then on 7. So I birdie 16. I'm feeling really good. 17. The pin was like middle front, and there's kind of the big hill in the front of the green. So I hit wedge right onto the top of that hill. Then it started spinning.
Oh.
And then it started rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. And unfortunately, I said, "Stop the ball!"
Stop it. Stop it. It's amazing. A lot of people are doing that now. Stop things in the middle of things.
And it
as
didn't
opposed
work.
to just letting them finish.
It didn't work.
Yeah, you can't.
No.
Can't
in the water.
You can't stop the ball.
I tried to turn to my partners and say,
I nuked it.
I am calling that a shot on the green. Didn't work.
Yes. Didn't work.
Had to hit it again.
Did you make bogey?
I actually did make bogey from the drop area, which I was very pleased with. But I don't know if I'll ever play the course again. And I did not want my first shot to go into the water, even though I hit a good shot. Wasn't displeased with the shot. What about you?
I nuked it. I went over. I was so worried about clearing the water that I went over and nuked it and went wet. But I, too, bogeyed from the drop. It's a very similar story. I just went long and just nuked it.
Did you straight up fly it, or did you at least land on the surface?
I mean, if I landed it at the very back, I mean, it was a one-hop in. Okay. It wasn't all the way through, but it was a one-hop in. It wasn't like – it was not a good golf shot. I mean, I smoked it. I really nuked it.
Okay.
You're so worried when you see it, especially when you stink like I do, and you just see all that water, that you just feel like I got to make sure that I get over there. But there's not as much room back there as you think. So, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Not great, just fine. And I don't know if there's – I'm trying to think if there's – like I haven't been to like Seminole, but I watched when those guys played it, and it seemed fine. I'm sure it's more than that. But that one seemed fine. I don't know if there's any course in Florida that I've been like, wow, exceptional.
So my favorite course that I've probably ever played in Florida was called the Concession, and it was Jack Nicklaus, and the Concession was from the Ryder Cup that Tony Jacklin and Jack Nicklaus were involved in, where they conceded. I don't remember which side, but I'm guessing it was a concession to Jack and the Americans would be my guess. That was awesome and by far the toughest golf course that I've ever played in my life, and I played it from all the way back. Now, since I've been there, I was told that it has been greatly changed. It's an inland course in the Tampa, Sarasota area, but inland. I remember the 18th hole was like a 475 par 4, and in the distance you could see the clubhouse. And the clubhouse is this massive structure, and they'd be like, all right, you see those chimneys there? You've got to hit it at that one. If you hit it left of that chimney, it's going to end up OB. If you hit it right of that chimney, everything slopes that way, it's going to go into the water. I'm like, this is a 474-yard par 4. And you're telling me to hit it basically what it appears to my eye to be like in a 1 foot wide swath of the fairway? Like, what are we doing here? It was bananas. I played and that's when I was good. That's when I was like probably right around a +1. I thought I couldn't have hit the ball any better. Honest to God.
Yeah.
And I shot, I think, an 80 on the nose. The rating from the tees I played and the slope was up with Bethpage Black, and the rating was a high 70. So I wasn't that far off, but it just shows you the difference between being a decent amateur and thinking you're kind of good at golf and then what those guys do.
Yeah, different. Yeah.
Yeah,
very, very different.
Beyond.
Yeah. By the way, Masters next week.
Crazy.
Wild? It's
crazy.
Really wild. Going to be wild. All right, so lots to get to on the program. As I mentioned, Jake will join us at the bottom of the hour. We will do a little bit of scores here on a Thursday edition. Coming up next, we go around the league, and a game that when it was scheduled on Thursday night, you would have said, what a dream matchup. Can't wait to see it. It'll be very different tonight. We will tell you why coming up next. Off and running here on a Thursday edition, Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Beau Bishop here for my friends at Weather Seal Home Services. They're your go-to for really any home improvement need, and it's November. And you know what that means. Snow and the ice and the wind. It's beautiful this weekend, but you know it's not going to last. Winter's coming. Don't get stuck in the cold with that leaky roof. Let the team at Weather Seal help with their great roof offer. It's $1 down, it's 7 years, and 0% financing. You get the new roof your home needs. Have peace of mind this winter as well. Don't delay. Call Weather Seal today, 877-351-SEAL, or visit WeatherSealHomeservices.com. That sale ends at the end of this month, and it's November 30th. It's with approved credit, and prior sales are excluded. Again, 877-351-SEAL, or visit weathersealhomeservices.com. This was a fun one on paper. Niners-Packers. When you saw it scheduled, a rematch from last year out in the Bay Area again. And then you realize that the San Francisco 49ers are going to be without the majority of their roster. And that's not hyperbole. It's 71% of their offense is out. They have – so they just from a receiver, they in addition to everything else, last night Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, and Deebo Samuel, Samuel wasn't planning to play anyway, also all out because they were in close contact to this Bourne guy, Kendrick Bourne. And so their setup right now at receiver is Trent Taylor and a guy named Richie James who could return from injury. Now, they'll probably elevate Kevin White, River Crack. I don't even know who these humans are. Chris Fink on the practice squad. But that's where you're at. They don't have any tailbacks. Just think about this. And some of this is COVID, some of it's just injury. Garoppolo, Kittle, Coleman, Mostert, Wilson, all out. Let alone the defensive guys that are out. I mean, this is the replacements.
Have you seen that graphic? There is a graphic from the offense lined up for a snap against the Packers from the playoffs last year. It's a photo in black and white.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have. Yes.
They're all gone.
They're
quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, and 3 of the 5 linemen. So when you do that math in your head, I think there's 2, maybe 3 guys that would be playing out of the 11 that were on the field at that point last year. Because they didn't have Juszczyk in that picture, but Juszczyk is still there.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 11.
Yep.
Your 2 most identifiable defensive players are Bosa and Richard Sherman.
Gone. Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. By the way, I've got the Packers defense in fantasy football for this week, so I think that
you'll like that.
I think that would be a good one. I hope our former Browns head coach Mike Pettin can deliver me a strong fantasy performance against Keanu and the gang.
It's something else, and
it's crazy.
It's not, that's the same thing. Think about this. So the matchup. There's one that's even worse, which is Pittsburgh at Dallas. That's this weekend as well. From a defense, like would the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, if let's say the offense doesn't play, will the Steelers defense outscore Dallas? Roethlisberger doesn't take the field.
And they just had to have the ball the whole game?
They got the ball the whole game. And they could just get pick sixes, fumbles, all that.
They might.
Sack strips.
They might. By the way, how did we get to the point where the DiNucci era happened if it was like just such a clear one and done? That's what I don't understand. I don't know. How did DiNucci
so fed up with
get an opportunity if like now it's Cooper Rush or Garrett Gilbert? Why was DiNucci even considered? What am I missing about
to begin with?
Was that like? It almost makes me feel like maybe he was the host of DCD and had been lobbying for 8 years to get an opportunity. And they're like,
a little run?
You want a little run? Fine. Let's do it, Nooch.
Let's see what it looks like, Nooch.
I hope we don't get there here, but I'm ready. I'll give it my run.
You're ready.
I'll have my Nooch moment.
If they said to you, you can play Sunday, you can suit up for the Browns and play Sunday.
Okay.
You have 1 week to prepare. Would you do it?
What kind of a question is that? Of course.
Would you?
1,000,000,000%.
You're gonna get killed.
So what? Killed. Come on, J.J. Watt. Bring it on. I know Eric Murray's tendencies.
I know Eric Murray's tendencies. That's true. You do. You have the film. You've got the film.
I feel like I'm close enough with Duke Johnson and Fells that they'd give me a little bit of the lowdown. Tell the guys, hey, look, he's a nice guy.
Take it easy.
Take it easy
on the kid.
Listen, don't make this like when I was down in Mexico. Fells will tell the story. Let's not treat him like that.
We don't need that.
We don't need that. Let's let him just.
CBSSports.com came out with their mid-season quarterback rankings, power rankings, through 8 weeks of the season. They have our guy at 22 on that list, Russell Wilson, number 1 on that list, Mahomes, Rodgers, Kyler Murray all the way up at number 4, Roethlisberger 5, Brady 6. I think they got Kyler. Maybe Brady should be higher than that. I don't think people realize how good he's playing. Deshaun, Breeze, Lamar, and Tannehill in the top 10.
Yep.
Nothing frustrates me more than autoplays on websites.
It's absurd. Why are they doing that?
I just clicked on this CBS to get this list. As
Yeah.
soon as I get there, then there's a video plays.
I was doing
And
the
all I do is
same.
mute them and click out of them as soon as possible.
I was doing the same, and I thought it was
Ridiculous.
on my side, and then I was like, wait, that's coming through my ears. What's going on?
No.
Bunch
Yeah.
of cruds.
Teddy Two Gloves at 15, Joe Burrow at 16, Wentz at 17, Goff 18, Rivers 19. I think they've got a couple of things here. I think probably have Wentz too high, and I think Burrow might need to be.
Let me tell
a
you
little bit on
something.
this list. I think Burrow's been better than Herbert, honestly.
Let me tell you something. If you
Go right
could
ahead. You can
buy
do what you like.
stock right now in the quarterbacks on this list, and
Yeah.
you got the multiple good or bad, like an old lightning bet, as the kid would say, the multiple good or bad on their movement up or down, there is no quarterback whose stock I would buy more of, and I would expect to have at least a 1,000% return on my investment. That's right, 1,000% return on my investment than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow.
So this is an Apple. This is an Amazon stock buy like 5 years ago.
I'm in on the IPO.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Seems like as sure as it gets. As sure as it gets. Yeah, certainly. In terms of the guys that are on there, in terms of how high it could go with him. Go ahead.
By the way, there's something that's totally absurd on this list. First of all, based on our prior discussion, it appears as though I would be able to currently rank 31st on this list.
Because of Danucci.
Because that's where the Nooch
Danucci's
is.
ahead of Darnold.
They put the Nooch ahead of Darnold? Like the disrespect.
They got Jake Luton ahead of Darnold as well. And Nick Mullins. And Kyle Allen.
I mean, this is just it's a slandering of Sam Darnold. And I'm not saying he's been good, but Cody Benjamin, listen to this comment. They're a mess, and Darnold's at the center of it. I'm sorry.
Are we sure?
Are you sure? I wonder if Cody wrote off Tannehill a few years ago.
Might have, yeah. I would agree with that.
But this
By the way,
gives me
real
hope.
quick, I see Drew
I
Lock.
could be 31st. Come on.
You could be 31st.
Let's get a movement going.
Give you a shot. Let you spin it a little bit. Drew Lock is 25 on this list. Did you see when Drew Lock threw the touchdown that ended up being the game winner to KJ Hamler Sunday? And then he did the dance?
I did not.
Have you seen that? Okay, so he throws a touchdown to KJ Hamler. It's kind of a rollout. For reasons beyond any explanation, the defender comes off Hamler, which allows for Hamler to be open. There was no reason to do it. He did. Touchdown, that's it. Locke then celebrates with that little dance he does, and he does like whatever. Yeah, that thing. So
I think he stole that from you.
He may have. What I found was interesting, though, was none of his teammates came over to him. And they then go to the sideline, and the teammates just mob Hamler. Like everyone just mobs Hamler. And nobody even talks to Locke.
Vontae Mack, no matter
I
what.
found it interesting. I found that pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The way
Wow.
that kind of played out there.
That sounds like
those
this
things matter,
is going to
man.
be some. This could have been some pre-draft talk. Nobody went to his birthday party. I'm
Oh,
not saying they don't like him. Just saying nobody went to his birthday party. Wasn't named team captain.
nobody went. No, something there.
Something there.
Is that from something?
Yeah. It's from draft day.
What? I never seen it.
What? So when I said Vontae Mack, no matter what, you know, no clue
No.
what I'm talking about.
I do know that because I've seen that part go around on social. But in terms of sitting down to watch that movie, that has not happened.
Miss K has a cameo in that movie.
Wait, what?
That's right.
Well, now I will.
Yeah, she's at the
Now I will.
at the draft party. I think she even gives a pat on the back.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I will see it now. No, I have not seen it. All right, Jake Burns will join us here coming up. Before we do, are you on the injured list? We can help get you back in the game. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Our good buddy Jake Burns, film analyst for the OBR, will join us coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated since 1932. They've been in business for 87 years, keeping neighborhoods clean and green. Their customers, employees, and communities, they're all part of the family. You can check them out at rumpke.com to learn more. And with that, we head out on the hotline. Our good buddy Jake Burns joining us, field analyst for the Orange and Brown Report, and he joins us as we take a look at the first half here of the season so far. And Jake, thanks so much for taking the time. Let's just start big picture-wise. This offense, what that Kevin Stefanski is that we are operating in now, compared to the offenses you've seen previously here with the Cleveland Browns, how does it stack up? What do you like about what he's doing?
Well, I think you like the consistency in their approach, that you feel like for the first time in a few years they have a base and they work off of that base. We all talked about all offseason. We looked at the film. We analyzed how they would do it. They're running a lot of wide zone, the stuff that we've grown accustomed to thinking they're going to run. Ton of zone schemes, which are really good for Nick before Nick got hurt and will eventually, again, thrive in when he gets back. And a ton of gap schemes, ton of power counter, pulling those effective linemen into space that Kareem Hunt's pretty effective at. So you feel good about their run base. Even when they haven't run the ball, air quotes, well in some of these games that we haven't seen of late, maybe you think about maybe the Colts game or this Oakland game, and even the Cincinnati game to an extent where they didn't necessarily knock the rushing yards out of the park. They were still very respectable, up above 80 yards in those games. So, they're still running the ball effectively enough, and even when they're not maybe they don't have a great rhythm in the run game, it's still something that defenses have to respect. So, what I personally like is that they're able to build off of a run game, but when they need to get out of things and when they need to put the quarterback in the shotgun and be able to move the ball, for the most part this year, they've been able to do that. So, you don't get to 5-3 by mistake. They put up points. They certainly could clean up a lot of aspects of this offense. But I have to remind everybody again, we've all talked about how Baker Mayfield's new to the system, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of guys here across the board that are completely new to this system who didn't get the time in preseason, who didn't get the time in OTAs and minicamp to work on the small, minute details about what makes you a really good team in this system. So it's new for everybody. And Kevin's new. It's new for him, getting all of these new talents in and how to effectively, incorporate them in this system. I can't quite say how impressed I am that they have found a way to 5-3 with all they have dealt with in the offseason, all they have dealt with the injuries, just the high volume of injuries they've had to get through and wear and kind of move through as an offense and a defense, obviously, too. But, from an offensive perspective, I'm fine with where they're at. Like I said, they could be better in the passing aspect of things, but I do think that there are some elements that they can bring to the next level in the second half that will unlock more of that downfield passing game.
All right, Jake, you've been doing a lot of stuff in the film. Let's start with our quarterback, Baker Mayfield. How do you evaluate him over the first half of the season? What have you liked? What do you want to see improved?
Well, it's a very overarching question. There's a lot
Indeed.
That's gone on in the 8 weeks. I've tried to try to get these things in film breakdowns as much as I can and analyze Baker in year 3. And there are a lot of things that were laid out before the season started that I just talked about. The caveats about the quarterback in terms of dealing with head coaching and coordinator changes and system changes. We all know it. It's Baker's duty, and I'm sure if you sat down with Baker and talked to him, he'd say, I have to overcome that stuff. I have to be able to function. And there's been times where I think Baker's been pretty good. I think, again, my opinion of Baker is that if his first read, if his eyes get to the right spot on any given scheme, he has as much arm talent, and I think he's accurate enough as most quarterbacks in the league, even to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. If his eyes get to the right spot, he believes in what he's doing, he gets his mechanics perfectly aligned, and he throws it. Now, we all know that's not how the NFL works all the time, and there has been an element of Baker's game over year 2 and 3 that we have seen. As defenses adjusted to Baker after year 1, year 2 and year 3 have been adjustment periods for him, and how he's going to overcome those is ultimately what's going to define Baker as a quarterback. The scouting report says 2 things. If you can change the look pre-snap to post-snap on Baker, he struggles with it. He is the lowest-rated Pro Football Focus graded quarterback if a defense shows one look, whether that's 1 high safety or 2 high safety pre-snap, and then changes it post-snap. And the best defenses that are giving him fits are teams that are changing the picture on him pre-snap to post-snap, and that's something he just has to get better at. He has to be able to locate where his eyes are going, be able to locate the number of safeties that are on the field post-snap and their location post-snap and the leverage at which cornerbacks are playing. Just has to get better at it. There's no magic formula. You get it through repetitions in a system. Hopefully he can get better at it. The thing I am very encouraged about is that his pocket manipulation stuff is getting better. I think that we all looked at last year's tape and said he's just bailing pockets way too often. You can tell watching the film Baker's fighting that tendency, that idea that I'm uncomfortable in this pocket, I need to bail out. And we all watch the tape and we would say, what is he doing? Where is he going? That tendency has creeped up on him a little bit, but there's also been an element where he's fighting it, trying to sit in the pocket and work from the pocket more often. So I'm encouraged by that. It's still a little jittery sometimes. You'll see the eyes drop. You'll see the feet get a little bit happy, a little bit helter-skelter back there. But he's trying more, and I think he's becoming an more effective pocket passer. How he can work through that, the best in the league are guys that are able to operate. It's a quarterback buzzword. They can operate when chaos is around them. How can you keep calm when the chaos in the pocket is around you? He has to just get better at that. If he can overcome his issues with coverage, being able to understand that teams are going to give him a look and change that look, or they're going to give him a hot read and take that away with fire zones and different things where they're running under. What defenses try to do is they'll say, hey, we're going to blitz you two off the right, and your hot read as a quarterback is to throw and replace the blitz. Well, we're going to drop a guy underneath that. So can he get to the point where he is now 2 steps ahead of the defense instead of the defense being 2 steps ahead of him? There's every opportunity for that to come for Baker as he gets more comfortable in what he's doing offensively and his relationship with Kevin Stefanski calling plays. I think he can get there. I think he's doing the right things to get better in the pocket, and I'm encouraged over the last few weeks of where this could go for him. But there are things that he's going to have to continue to overcome because defenses definitely have the scouting report on him and are going to challenge him. The best ones, they're going to play Pittsburgh, they're going to play Baltimore, they're going to play Tennessee. Guys who know how to scheme up defense, know what to do to mess with him mentally. Can he overcome that? That's what I'm most fascinated in, because ultimately that's going to tell you whether he's a long-term franchise changing quarterback or if he's just a play taker. I call there's either playmakers or play takers. Can Baker become a playmaker within any given offense that he's operating in? That's what the Browns, I'm sure, want to see moving forward for him.
So is that to you the most important development of the second half of the season, and you'll be watching the games against Tennessee, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh specifically to see that?
Oh, absolutely. I think you, as a Browns fan, you know that there are staples of this franchise that are going to be around for a long time. I don't even need to name them. You watch the games, you know who's changing it. There's a middle level of the roster that I think we'll see hopefully improve over time. But the direction of this regime, this franchise right now, is dependent on how good Baker Mayfield can become. If he can't overcome the things that have struggled him, that have impaired him in his career, and you watch Baltimore later in the year, you watch Pittsburgh later in the year, or Tennessee, or some of the other teams that the schedule lightens up in terms of pass defense, DVOA, and challenges, but there are still those unique challenges coming for him with teams who know how to scheme him. Pittsburgh is definitely a team. Baltimore knows how to scheme him. You really want to watch those games. The way we saw Baker bring them back against Cincinnati, that was something all of us wanted to see. Can he be down on the scoreboard? Can he drive his team down? Can he be the reason they win? That was great to see. Now, what I want to see, can he take what defenses are continually doing him to give him trouble and overcome them? That's what the best at the quarterback position do over the course of these guys who play 10, 15, 20 years, is they're able to overcome those issues that defenses give them. They give you a wrinkle, you struggle with it, but can you eventually overcome it through recognition of film, recognition of seeing them do student tendencies over and over again? That's what Baker has to prove. If you watch him play against Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and the like, and he's out in front of them mentally, you're like, okay, he's beating the blitz. Okay, he realized that safety was cheating down and robbing, and he threw away from it. If you see those things, that's when you should be super encouraged. Again, if Baker's first read is open and the scheme is right, that he's good. He's gonna throw for 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. If they give it to him, you'll find it. But it's how can he work from his first read to his second read to his third read that makes the best quarterbacks the best in the league, and that's what Baker has to try to get to. And like I said, I'm sure Alex Van Pelt and those guys would say that we're trying to get Baker there, and I think some of those things can help with consistency around him at the quarterback coaching position and the system and the quarterback's play caller. All of those things are set up in his favor. Now it's just about, hey, can we start to see some steady improvement from our third-year guy that sends us into the offseason, whether that's with the playoffs or whatever, feeling really encouraged about where he's going for this franchise.
Jake Burns, our guest. He joins on the Fifth Third Money Line. He's a film analyst at the Orange and Brown Report. Jake, one of the things that this offense was unlocking from time to time was Odell Beckham Jr. in the chunk game. That's gone, obviously, unfortunately, with the loss of Beckham. In this offense, and there was no deal made at the deadline for anybody else, and Nathan talked a lot about Taywan Taylor, and maybe he would be the answer to that. How will Kevin Stefanski address that going forward? Because one thing you noticed immediately in the Oakland game, and I realized the wind was blowing like crazy, but there just was not a threat in that way without Beckham out there. How can he manufacture it in this offense?
It's a great question, and that's one of the key storylines to pay attention to in the second half. I know there's the narrative out there of the Browns are better without Odell, and that question can be answered later. I don't think functionally, I don't think the big picture of your offense gets better without that guy on the field. There can be some questions and answers that come by the end of the year about whether the quarterback plays better without him. That's a topic for another time. But watching what Oakland – there's a phrase in the NFL that says you have to earn too high. You have to earn it, meaning you have to be good enough as a quarterback. You have to have enough offensive weapons that tells coordinators, hey, we have to keep two safeties to keep the back half of the field locked up. If defenses feel like they can walk down, get in your face, play man-to-man, mug you, knock you off your route, keep you from getting open, they're going to do that because that's the best way to allow your rush to get home to the quarterback. If you're holding up routes at the line of scrimmage, if you're knocking them off their base at the top of their routes and there's no separation created, that's when quarterbacks are like, where am I going with this thing? And that's when, like I said, the head drops, the feet shuffle, they don't know where they're going with it, and sacks happen, mistakes happen, interceptions, fumbles, and the like. So the Browns have to figure out a way. And now, I don't know, like you said, Beau, if the weather was the big dictator in Oakland saying, hey, man, we're going to play aggressive 8-in-the-box football and get up in your face and dare you to beat us deep, and if it happens, it happens, and we're going to take away the run game as best we can, because that's certainly what Oakland did. I don't know if they come out of the bye and the Texans and the Eagles do the same things. That's kind of a big thing that I'm going to be paying attention to, but it is something the Browns have to be prepared for. You would like to have a lid-lifting type of player. Odell was a unique player that he can lift the lid, he can run the intermediate routes, he can run the short routes, he can do all of it. That's certainly a rare talent. But they need a lid-lifting type of guy. Can Donovan Peoples-Jones do more of that? Can Kadero Hodge do more of that? I know Hodge came back last week and played a ton of snaps, and Taywan Taylor is certainly a guy that can run. They need somebody who they feel like they can put down the field, and defenses feel like they have to respect somehow. Is that guy on the roster? I don't know.
I hope so.
To be determined about how – we certainly hope so, because it's not changing at this point. So, yeah, I mean, I just think they have to give somebody those opportunities. Like, I certainly understand them not wanting to take a ton of shots downfield. Oakland didn't do the same. That wind was whipping like crazy. You're not going to find much success throwing downfield. But that is certainly one of the key storylines to pay attention to in the second half of the season, because the data's out there, right? Like, when they didn't have Odell on the field, you can talk about the passing game all you want, but they were only running for 3.9 yards when he wasn't on the field and 5.3 with him on the field, because there's an element to secondary play where they have to account for him. And that usually means that you're going to see more off coverage, deeper defensive backs, too high safety looks. That translates to more open run lanes, one less guy in the run fit at the line of scrimmage for the defense, which means you might get that cutback lane, which means you might get the alley sealed. You don't expect it to happen. Maybe that's the kind of thing you have to pay attention to, is how are they going to be able to incorporate taking the top off of defenses now that they don't have the guy they love to do that with. And, yeah, there are going to be guys that are given a shot. I don't know. I don't have that answer right now, but that's going to certainly be one of the key focal points coming out, because if defenses are able to play 8 in the box or like I said, walk a safety down and play him in the slot and play 3, cover 3, and then be able to have an extra guy in intermediate coverage because they're just not worried about anybody over the top, that's when your offense starts to feel really compressed, and that's when teams can start to take advantage of really heavy tendencies. So I'm hoping, whether that's through boot action or whatever, they find a way to make defenses respect the deep portion of the field.
Yeah, you got to. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for the offense. You got to make them pay when they do that. Andrew Berry alluded on our program yesterday to us that Taywan Taylor was much more heavily involved in that game plan, but because of the weather, he saw a much more limited snap package, so that's something certainly to keep an eye on. Your most recent article, talking with Jake Burns, was a film breakdown of Jedrick Wills, and in some ways it has been a tale of two seasons. spectacular as a pass blocker already. You wouldn't even know that he made a transition from right to left tackle. Amazing how that's no longer a storyline. But run blocking at times has been a little bit of an issue. You watched every single snap. You wrote an incredible article with film. Check it out, folks. Seek it out. It's on his Twitter. But, Jake, what's your main takeaway about Big Jed?
Well, you nailed it, really. I mean, a lot of what Jed does innately is fascinating and fun to watch. Like, his ability with athleticism to kick, step, and glide is really Joe Thomas-esque at left tackle. I mean, especially crazy for a guy moving to the right side to the left side, how well he's able to get to his drop point in predictable pass situations. Because the most challenging thing for a tackle to do is block defensive ends when the defensive end or edge rusher or blitzer off the edge doesn't even have to remotely consider the run game. And they're just, the old phrase, pinning their ears back and rushing, because that's so challenging. You got a guy 250 to 290, freak athleticism charging right at you, and you got to keep him from the quarterback. Like, that's probably one of the hardest jobs in all of sports, and Jed is really efficient at it to start his career. He's 13th in pass blocking grade, according to Pro Football Focus, in the entire NFL for qualifying tackles, which is really, it's pretty unheard of for a guy who didn't get any. I think this is underrated. He hasn't played left tackle even in college or high school. Like, he's always been a right side guy. For him to move over so seamlessly as a pass protector on the left side is pretty crazy. Two things he has to improve with in those. He has to cut down the penalties. He's got 7 penalties, which is second in the NFL. Some of them are false starts, which is just mental stuff. You can pin it on mental stuff for a rookie. Jed will tell you he's got to get better at that. That can't happen. He's had 2 games where he's had 2 false starts in the same game. Can't let that happen. And some holding penalty issues, which, tied to what I think his biggest issue is. Jed has to really work on playing through the whistle. I think there are some times where he thinks the play is gone, the ball is gone, and it's not gone. He was used to playing in a very effective ball-out right now Alabama offense with a ton of RPOs that meant the ball was out quick. I don't think he's quite used to the length of time that the quarterback in the NFL has to hang on to the ball. And there's been a few times where he's at the first level of his blocking element is taken care of, but then late he'll lose his guy inside. If you think about the second interception against the Colts, he lost his guy inside late, hits Baker, ball's intercepted. There was a throw in the Bengals game where he threw a ball to Harrison Bryant on the left sideline in that first quarter where Baker went 0-5, had a nice read for a 10-yard out for a first down, but the left side, the end got inside of Jed late and couldn't step into the throw. It's just a little thing Jed has to get better at. Like, you need to continue to play until you hear the whistle, and sometimes that is what happens in the run game to him. He thinks that he's either able to move his guy initially out of the play, but this isn't college football where defensive ends don't have and the people he's blocking on the perimeter have more athleticism, they have more strength. It's a step up in every regard. So just getting that initial contact on a guy while maybe playing Mississippi State or some of those lights probably finish them. That doesn't happen in the NFL. A guy's either able to recoup, regather, and beat you, or he's not quite used to the angle to take in this offense. So sometimes I think his angle is initially a little poor. He has to just get better at where he knows the defender is going to go in getting there. The difference is, in pass protection, you have a good feel. A guy's going to come into you and he's going to land in your lap for the most part, and you got to win that little chess match. But with run game, you don't always know if a guy's going to go inside right off the snap or if a guy's going to play your outside shoulder gap right off the snap. So it's a more precision, get to the spot, beat the guy there, and be able to handle him in a manner that is, I guess the way to put it is a little bit more reactionary instead of he can formulate a plan in pass pro. So I think it'll get there for him. The more reps he get as a run blocker on the left side, he's effective enough as an athlete. They can pull him. They've been pulling him a little bit, doing some different things. He's just got to get more consistent about staying on his man, finding the right angle to take in wide zone or gap schemes, and playing through the whistle. Those things can come. I would be more concerned if it was the flip side of this, guys, where he couldn't handle pass, but we just watched it and we're like, he can't handle it. Some of that's going on in New York with Andrew Thomas where you're really, really worried. But I'm not all too worried because the mental stuff I think will come for him. The false starts will cut down. He'll get more and more used to Baker. And I think in the run game, as he gets more and more reps, he'll start to figure out, I can't do some of those little poor habit things I was able to get away with maybe at Alabama. And the good thing is that the strength and the athleticism and all of that is there, that he can handle it. So I'm extremely encouraged by him. The data isn't favorable to him as an overall number because the run game's bringing it down. but I think the run game will balance itself out in the second half, and we'll see him overall grade between both phases peak up toward the top half of the league.
Jake, you're the best, man. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Anytime.
Jeez.
All right, that's Jake Burns, film analyst at the OBR.
Bringing it.
Film Meat Sandwich there, kids. A reminder, all guests who appear on CBD do so via the Fifth Third Money Line. Fifth Third Bank making Cleveland Browns daily a Fifth Third better. Top of the hour, mid-season awards out of us. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Hour here of the program. Beau Bishop here for my great friends at Raising Cane's. And on game day, I encourage you to go for the win with Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. It's a huge win. You can stack that roster with delicious hand-battered, cooked-to-order chicken fingers and cane sauce. Huddle up with crispy, crinkle-cut fries and coleslaw, buttery Texas toast as well. Top it all off, freshly made tea and lemonade. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, proud sponsor for Ohio State High School Association. On to the regional final round, right? We're at the Elite Eight part of the high schools and the Ohio State Athletics as well. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love. I know the Hudson team's in there. A little big matchup with Hoban here in the regional final for the young boys, the young Explorer boys. Hopefully they go out there and continue to get things done. That'd be good to see for me at least, which is all I'm concerned about. Time for some NFL midseason awards. Let's start. Gibby has provided the categories. Gibby, are you administering? Or you want me to administer this?
I can if you want.
Oh, I want to hear your answers.
Yeah, I want you. I want Gibby. Yeah.
What
All right.
the world needs now is Gibby.
I don't think
Sweet
More
Gibby.
Gibby.
Don't you
Not
worry.
just for some,
Hours away.
but for everyone.
Cocktailing.
Burt Bacharach, ladies and gentlemen.
Getting
Hours away
crazy. All right, guys. The NFL mid-season is upon us, and conveniently, our bye week is also here. The NFL mid-season awards, a chance maybe to correct some of the errors of your ways from earlier in the year, or modify, tweak, whatever you'd like to call it. Let's start off. Question number one, which team has been the biggest surprise, either good or bad? Zegura, we'll start with you because I like going to you before Beau anyways.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The biggest surprise, good on the good side of it. I mean, I think you probably have to say 5-2 Cardinals, 5-3 Browns, to a lot of people is a surprise, and 5-3 Bears.
They're garbage.
We're only doing one.
It's good or bad. It's one team,
biggest
but,
surprise.
You know, you just
Not biggest surprise is. Biggest surprise.
I have spoken.
One.
it's ridiculous.
You went positive, I'll go negative. And some of the answer to me is Minnesota. I think if you had, from a negative standpoint, I'm shocked at how bad it's been for them. The two that are the clear answer, but because of injury, they're disqualified, are Dallas and San Francisco.
And I would say 1-6 Falcons, 2-5 Patriots.
Yeah.
The entire
lost Tom
NFC
Brady.
East.
I had an idea New England would be like this. Not this bad.
Not with
But
Cam.
I thought they would have a.
Yeah, but let's not forget
I
how
thought they
many
were like
guys.
a 500 team.
How many
Same.
guys opted out for New England?
Agreed.
Especially on the defensive
Right.
side of it.
Yeah, but you thought Belichick was worth
Atlanta.
some wins.
Yeah. Atlanta's a wild one to wrap your head around. That's pretty wild. The Houston one is bad. Houston at 1-6. That's hard to wrap your head around.
I still think the Chargers being at 2-5, because if all you read is how great Justin Herbert is, and they're 2-5 because you like their defense, Bosa and Ingram. Yeah, they lost Derwin James, but that's a surprising 2-5 team.
They have. You remember the stat?
4.
5 games.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
5 where they had 16-point leads. 4 times they gave it up 5 times. 4 times they lost, including last week.
Jeez. Stunning.
All right, up next, what player has been the biggest surprise in the league through 8 games? Bishop, the floor is yours.
If you had done this at the quarter poll, I would have said Josh Allen, but he's kind of come back to the mean a little bit in terms
Buffalo's not
of his
that
production. So the clear answer is Justin Herbert. I was wrong. I'm wrong. I was dead wrong. I thought he was a very average college player, very average prospect. I did not see the high ceiling that others did, and in turn, I am an idiot because he's very, very good, and he can do about everything, and I did, without question, the biggest surprise.
Segura?
Travis Fulgham. The guy was not even on their roster. He made his debut this season in Week 4. He's played in 5 games. He has 29 catches, 435 yards, 4 touchdowns. He is the leading receiver in the NFL since Week 5. And by the way, they played Pittsburgh and Baltimore. 10 for 152 and a touch against Pittsburgh, 6 for 75 and a touch against Baltimore, 5 for 73 against the Giants, 678 and a touch against Dallas. He had 0 career catches before this. 0. Wasn't even on their roster, and he's the NFL's leading receiver over the last 4 weeks. That's the biggest surprise. Nobody had that, not even the Fulghams.
Up next, Coach
One answer.
of the Year. Zegura. Well, it's about time you follow instructions. First time in 8 years, 7 years, whatever.
Coach of the Year?
Coach of the Year.
I'm going to have to go with Pete Carroll for finally letting Russ cook. Seems simple, but it's a good move.
Yeah, it is. Our guy would deserve some consideration here in terms of what we saw last year to what we see this year. He would deserve a lot of consideration. Pittsburgh's 7-0.
I know.
I mean, not crazy about it, but the job Tomlin's done is pretty great. Pretty great.
Incredible.
All right. Up next, Rookie of the Year. Now, like, you know, the mid-season, everybody's like, well, here's my offensive, here's my defense. I just want your Rookie of the Year. Like, I don't like breaking it down
It's
one.
the kid down 71, unfortunately.
It's Joe Burrow. That's it. That's the list.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to make it. I'm not crazy about the fact that I just said the coach of the year is the coach of the Steelers and the rookie of the year is the quarterback of the Bengals, but it is what it is. I mean, he's been unbelievable. He's unbelievable. And honestly, the play is even better than you think.
Yes. Watch it. It's stunning.
The numbers don't do him justice. And the numbers are astonishing, but they don't even do justice to everything that he's doing.
2020, am I right?
Offensive Player of the Year. Not the MVP. This is the Offensive Player of the Year. Beau, we'll go to you first.
It's Russ cooking, man. It's Russ cooking. He's going to be the MVP too. I mean, it's Russell Wilson. They've unleashed him. They've let him cook. There's nothing he can't do. There's no lead that's safe. He was a little flummoxed in the game against the Cardinals, where he wasn't quite, especially at the end when they still had a chance. He's so good though, man. I mean, he can throw it from every angle, extend pockets forever. I'll stick with Russ as your Offensive Player of the Year.
Zegura.
I'll go with Mahomes just for the sake of variation. Mahomes, by the way, 21 touchdowns, 1 interception on the season. That is a 21-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
Wow. I went to state school, and I can figure that one out.
Russ, 26-6, which is obviously also excellent. But I'll go with Mahomes. That's just 67% completions, 8.2 yards per attempt. Russ, 71.5, 8.4, 21-to-1, 26-6. Only taken 10 sacks. Russ, 19. Quarterback rating, 115. Russ, 120. Those two guys are playing at a level that are reminiscent of, frankly, only Joe Montana.
21-to-1, and he's the number 2 seed if the playoffs started today in the AFC.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the most fun offensive player to watch, non-quarterback?
All right, so that was my other thing. NFL MVP who's not a quarterback. I would think it would come from the offensive side.
I have 2 different answers on that. So on the MVP who's not a quarterback, I would go Alvin Kamara because I don't know where they would be in New Orleans without him.
I'd go DK Metcalf.
Well, I was going to say, now that's my answer to most fun player to watch is DK Metcalf.
And I'll just throw another random offensive player in the mix, Dalvin Cook. The guy is rushing for 110 yards a game, 5.3 yards per carry, and has 10 touchdowns in 6 games.
Yeah, but they suck.
They're starting to.
And it's crazy because they're not winning.
They just beat the Packers.
Starting to think that division's not exactly.
Dalvin Cook is good. And he's fun to watch, though. When you watch him, he is sensational. Kamara, I would agree with that call very much. Derrick Henry, I mean, we almost take his greatness for granted. The guy's leading the league in rushing by 125 yards and by 200 yards over third place, and nobody's talking about it. It's like it's not even happening. I'll say that again. He is leading the league in rushing by 100 yards, and he is 200 yards ahead of third place, even though third, fourth, fifth, and sixth places on this list all have played 8 games, and he's played 7. We're kind of taking that for granted. A little bit, methinks.
Yeah.
But I say non-quarterback MVP of the league, he's right here. Myles Garrett, number 1 in sacks. Number one. Let's go.
I'm assuming then that would mean the defensive player of the year.
That's right, Depoy. He is the Depoy,
He's Depoy.
and he is the
Depoy.
I think he's a legitimate MVP candidate. He has a sack strip fumble in 4 of the Browns' 5 wins, leads the league in sacks, leads the league in forced fumbles, has created 7 turnovers according to Next Gen Stats as a direct result of his pressure. The leader in that category in the entirety of the 2019 season did it 6 times. He's done it 7 in 8 games. By the way, somebody on Twitter today said to Miles, "Why aren't you getting the respect you deserve?" And he said, "Respect is earned, not given, but I appreciate the love." Love it.
By the way, I would also add in, he's only done it in 7 because he played on one leg against the Raiders.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, he really
he's
he
unbelievable.
did it in 7
He's
games.
been unbelievable. Yeah.
All right.
He's clearly the NFL deep. Where would we be without him defensively? Think about that.
No, thank you.
I'd rather
is the
not,
answer.
but I mean, it's
Yeah.
that tells you all you need to know.
I guess we'll skip down since we just literally covered 3 awards right there in one little situation.
Categories in one answer.
Yeah. Your NFL MVP, is it Russ?
Yeah.
Zegura?
I'll just to split the but to split the vote, I'll say Mahomes.
All right. Your chance to update your Super Bowl matchup and winner. Now is the time.
Real quick, before we move off of that one, on the NFL MVP, if it's somebody other than Russ or Mahomes, who is it?
Myles Garrett.
Well, I guess what I mean is who has the best chance to win it other than those guys in the second half?
This is like a scene from The Running Man when he tries to dissuade the old lady from picking Ben Richards. And she says, "No,
Ben Richards.
No.
I choose Ben Richards. You will not dissuade me. I choose Myles Garrett."
I would as well. I just don't know if it.
Tom
I
Brady
think
is the answer.
That's the answer. That's the answer I was looking for. That's the chance
I
with all of those
choose
weapons coming back.
Myles Garrett.
That's the.
Creepy.
And now I've seen that and get that reference thanks to you from the last time we had this
What a
conversation.
film.
That's an award winner
Something.
right there.
Oh, it's
I don't know
tremendous.
if it did that, but it's something.
I would like to
yeah.
see a complete remake of that with people at the exact same ages. So I need Arnold at the exact same age. I need Jesse the Body, but like a remake with today's technology.
Richard Dawson still around?
Richard Dawson, resurrect him. Let's go.
I don't know. I don't know if he is or not. Is he gone?
I believe so.
I don't know.
I believe so.
Sad.
Very sad. All right. Super Bowl matchup. Want to update?
Stay where I'm at.
What'd
I
you-
had Seahawks Chiefs at the beginning. I still say Seahawks Chiefs.
Bucks, Steelers.
Oh,
I would hate it.
forbid.
I would hate it.
Oh,
That would
God,
be.
that'd be awful.
It would
I
be
don't want
awful.
that.
The Brady haters.
In Tampa.
The Brady haters would all be
Oh.
rooting for the Steelers. We would all hate the Steelers and be rooting for Brady. It was just a disaster. That's no good outcome.
No, I don't want that.
No.
Think about it. You're such a man of pure joy. I just gave you a pure joy Super Bowl that wouldn't. The only one that doesn't include us. Russ against Mahomes.
Oh
That's a
man,
pure
that
joy Super Bowl.
But Tampa Chiefs would be great too. Brady, Mahomes, 3 years in a
I'm
row,
done with.
2
I've had
AFC
enough of Brady.
championships,
I mean,
now
honestly,
a Super Bowl.
My God, I'd rather see Russ play.
Come on,
I don't.
that's
I'm
you
Brady'd
never
out.
got to see Muhammad Ali against Mike Tyson in their prime. It's like when The Rock and the Hulk Hogan met at WrestleMania 18 because you can't pass the torch in an AFC championship
Yep.
game. You've got to pass the torch in a Super Bowl. We got to see The Rock and Hulk Hogan. The
Yeah.
torch was passed. Now The Rock's the most popular guy on the planet. Could it happen for Mahomes? I don't know, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah. All right.
All right, guys.
Good job, Gibby.
By the way, Bucks Steelers would have a hugely interesting recall with the guy who's set to make his return to the National Football League this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It would. None of those storylines to me are more fun than Mahomes and Russ. If you like to play the lottery or gamble in other ways, don't take unnecessary chances. Before you know the odds, know what you're getting into before you bet. If you'd like to learn more, go to keepitfunohio.com for helpful tips, interesting quizzes, and great games to help you keep gambling fun. We give you a little fantasy advice for the weekend coming up next with the good Dr. Z. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. At Union Home Mortgage, our loan officers go into overtime to deliver a world-class mortgage experience to make you a raving fan. Find home financing options you need, the customer service you want. Visit UnionHomeMortgage.com to get a mortgage you'll rave about. Union Home Mortgage. Promises kept. Union Home Mortgage Corp. NMLS 2229 is an equal housing lender. Brown's Therapy with a particularly strong running man. Gift of us going around that I think you'll like a lot, Great Z. I think you'll be a fan of that.
I love what he's done a lot of good stuff
I
today.
like
He had
that.
me singing out there earlier. It was really a real pure
this,
joy.
This running back one is very, very strong. The running man version is very, very strong. So it's a good job out of him. Let's turn to the good doctor for a little bit of Tito's Handmade Vodka fantasy advice. Good doctor. What do you have this week? What do you like?
Well, listen, this is a week right now where, frankly, we don't know a lot of things. COVID things are popping up all over the league. But we are going to try and go ahead and just get through it and go through position by position some people that we like here for you in week number 9. Josh Allen. I know he's struggling a little bit of late. Get him in your lineups with confidence against Seattle. I also like the games, the Chargers and the Raiders. I think Derek Carr and Herbert, both top 10 quarterbacks for you this week, and I think both of them are guys to get into your lineups. At the running back position, Chase Edmonds. Who? Kenyon Drake is out. Edmonds is going to be unleashed, I believe. Get him in the lineups against Miami. He is a must-start this week. I like, for a little sleeper style, Zach Moss in that game as well for Buffalo against Seattle. I think a good play. Antonio Gibson for Washington against the Giants as well. Some running backs that I like. If you're desperate and you need to kind of pick up and play somebody, JaMychal Hasty. He's going to be the only thing cooking for that 49ers offense, and we just saw Dalvin Cook run for about $1 billion on Green Bay. JaMychal Hasty would be somebody to look at in a more of a desperate situation. Wide receivers, love Will Fuller against Jacksonville. I like both of the guys in Carolina, Moore and Anderson against the Chiefs, and because I think they're going to play from behind and have to throw the football in that one. Another wide receiver for you, look for Deontay Johnson to bounce back after an off week. He's kind of had those big weeks, down weeks, big weeks, down weeks. I think this is a big week, and if he's still on your waiver wire, do yourself a favor. Go out there and get Antonio Brown. Give him an opportunity this week if you're desperate at wide receiver to get somebody in the lineup. Cole Beasley in a PPR league, a good one for you. Tight ends love Noah Fant this week against the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos going against the Falcons. Hayden Hurst in that game as well. So 2 tight ends matching up head-to-head. And keep an eye on T.J. Hawkinson. If he's good to go against Minnesota and Matt Stafford is good to go, Hawkinson, I think, a solid play as well.
So I got Russ and Allen.
You got to make it. Why didn't you make a trade?
Well, I'm working. We're working on that. We're working on
week
that.
4 you could have sold Josh Allen for the moon.
Well, I didn't have him at that point. I picked him up. Someone had dropped him.
Excuse me,
stunningly.
what?
Someone dropped him in week 4 or 5. Or no, not week 4. It had to be more like 5 or 6. Picked him up, and so he's just been stashed. So I'm waiting to sell high after this week.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Yeah, that's true.
You're playing in a league.
That's right.
Where somebody just cut Josh Allen from their roster.
Randomly cut him, week 6.
When he was the number 1 point scorer in all of fantasy football at that point.
I think it was week 6, yeah.
Yeah, he would have been.
It was coming. He had 2 games in a row where he was down.
Yeah, but in the first 4, he was the number 1 scorer by a wide
Correct.
margin. He just cut him?
Correct. Also, yes.
I'd like you to win this league. I feel like that person should never, ever be able to win your league. And you're basically playing – you should win this league every year, I've decided.
Well, won it a couple times. We do okay.
Okay.
So what do you go there, Russ or Allen?
I mean, I don't sit Russ, but this is Josh. I mean, they're 2 of my top 3 quarterbacks, but I don't sit Russ, period.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't sit him anyway. All right, good stuff. All right, coming up next, a little Thursday edition of the Scores for the kids. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Nominations for the 2020 Helmets program are now being accepted. Zenith invites you to nominate your Ohio high school to receive $25,000 worth of new Zenith helmets. Visit promotions.clevelandbrowns.com to learn more. What is this? What is this we see? A rare Thursday appearance of the Scores?
Some knocking.
Just a treat?
Oh, a treat indeed. Pay attention to the scores a day early because,
on a Thursday.
listen, when the Browns went into Baltimore and it didn't work out so well, they said, let's have a Thursday night game to get back on track. We needed that quick turnaround. And last week, Beau, you and I was 6-8, 5-9 for you. But you had a big lead, big cushion. You're safe. Still 11 games over 500 for the season, down from 15. Yeah. I am down from 11 to 9. So together, 20 games over 500 still through the first 8 weeks of the season. Off of our peak, though, at 26. Maybe last week we should have stopped the count right there. 26 games over 500. You're welcome.
Did we learn a lesson from last week? Did we learn a lesson?
Yeah, we can't pick all favorites. I noted it. I said, there's no way this is going to happen for us.
Yeah, you did. There's no way.
I didn't think it was going to be
this
bad,
week, too.
I didn't think it was going to be this bad. It was.
No, I did. I mean, there were so many things that happened last week. I mean, Cincinnati whipping Tennessee, the Vikings whipping the Packers. I mean, these are things that there's no way you could have thought that they would go that way.
Couldn't have foreseen such a turn of events in the scores.
Shocking.
Listen, the only reason that I ended up a game ahead of you is because on the last game I picked for no reason other than the fact nothing was working right. I said I'll take the Giants.
Do the opposite, Costanza.
I did.
All right, let's get into it. We got 13 games to cover over the next 18 minutes. Dodgeball. Packers, 49ers, Thursday night foosball. I don't know who's playing. All I know is the 49ers are 4-4, and if they should just start tanking. They should just lose this game right now and set the tone right now. Zegura, go ahead.
Spumoni! Nate, Spumoni!
I don't know much, but I know I love you. Last week, all I know is that last week I said, Pedro, I'm taking a page out of your playbook. Niners stink. They're going to lose. That way, if they did, boy, I was right. Russ, he did it. And if they won, great. The Niners win. That's joyous. Same again this week. Sorry, it's the Niners JV squad. I'm not sure even Pedro wants to watch it. Nate, get me a coffee. I can't handle this. He's lamenting the injuries. Have you ever seen anything like it? I said, yeah, we've been playing without Nick Chubb and Odell and Austin Hooper and Wyatt Teller, no big deal. Nerd, enough of your facts. Those are alternative facts. I don't like them. Listen, they don't have a football team. They don't have a football
Pedro
team.
with alternative facts. They have no football team.
I'm sorry. And listen, Nick Mullins is much better than.
He's fine, yeah.
He's the best Mullins since Chris in the Bay Area.
Nice qualifier. Let me ask you. When you would have to watch him drink the coffee, would he get you a beverage, or would you just have to sit there arms folded?
So we would go. In my mind, when it's the getting him the stuff, that happened always at the house when he was trying to disrupt my flow.
Yes.
The coffee, the real nerd, watch me drink my coffee. That comes from if we would go out to dinner, and the place that in my childhood sticks in my mind would go to Gaspari's Pizza, which is my favorite pizza place in the world. We would go there. We would eat this great meal. Across the street was an awesome old school, ice cream parlor, soda fountain they would call it, right?
Sure.
Like old school style. And all I wanted to do was go across the street and get some ice cream, okay? All they had at Gaspari's was Spumoni, which is, nerd, Spumoni, you don't like it. No, I don't like it. I don't like candied fruit in my green ice cream. I don't like it. I'm sorry. No, I don't. I want to go over there where I can get Rocky Road.
Look at it. It's right there, Dad.
Right,
It's right
you
across the
could
street.
see it from the table. That's how close it was. And this was a different era. We're talking the 80s where you could let a kid go walk, around.
Let him go walk across.
Go ahead.
What's the harm?
No. Sit here, watch me drink my coffee, and if you're lucky at the end, if you're good and sit here quietly, then you get to go get ice cream. That was the yoke I was living under.
That was it. It's an incredible. Green Bay big.
All right.
Green like Spumoni.
Let's go to
38-7.
Who cares about the number?
Yeah.
Greater than.
Greater than. Significant.
Let's go to Sunday, 1 o'clock. Interesting little game here, kids. Ravens 5-2 at Colts 5-2. Ravens 3-0 on the road. Colts 3-0 at home. Bishop, lead us off.
We've seen both of these teams. And I know it didn't go well for Baltimore last week against Pittsburgh, but that was a lot of self-inflicted wounds with turnovers at critical moments. What is a little bit lost from the big picture is that they may have found a running game with J.K. Dobbins over 100 yards. And between he and Edwards now, that is a little wrinkle to their offense. I know that not everyone's pleased over there. Hollywood Brown everyone wants more touches, all of this. They're going to be just fine. Ravens rebound nicely on the turf in Indy where they are quite fast. Ravens 28, Colts 14.
Tremendous analysis. I agree with it. The Colts can stop the run, but I think the Ravens are more dynamic, and I think they have the better defense. And I don't know what are the Colts going to do on offense that scares this Ravens defense. I don't think anything.
Yeah,
I agree. Ravens 20.
You saw what the Ravens defense did to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's a darn good defense.
Yeah, defense.
Revising due to a safety. Ravens 22. Colts 6. Rodrigo. Field goal. That's it.
Up next, guys, we go to Kansas City.
By the way, we've taken 2 favorites in a row.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Setting the tone
early in the picks.
Setting the tone early. Chiefs playing host to Theodore and the Carolina Panthers. All of a sudden, the Panthers starting to show their true colors. 3-5 on the football season.
Are they?
Zegura, what do you say about your little boy, Theodore?
Doesn't work as well on radio as it did on our little Zoom there. But I turned around and I did the rock. Just bring it hand gesture. Theo, come on in that back door. Come on in. DJ
wide
Moore,
open. Come in on the
Robbie
veranda.
Anderson. Oh, Christian McCaffrey, you're back. It's good to see you. Let's all come in here and have a party. Chiefs 37. Carolina 28.
Chiefs, big. Huge. 31. Carolina. 22. Same.
Up next, gentlemen, to Tennessee we go. The Titans have lost 2 in a row. They play host to the Chicago Bears. 5-3. Bears a tough loss in overtime last week at home to the Saints. Bishop, lead us.
Tennessee's defense stinks. Bears' offense stinks. So you got that versus that. The one interesting thing, though, is the coach of Tennessee is Mike Vrabel. And my guess is, knowing him a little bit, that performance elicited a response. And I think his team will respond to that. Tennessee 27, Chicago 19.
You can't keep a good man down. And sure, for 2 weeks it's been Ryan Tannehill, but he's going to be back to being Ryan Tannehill against the Bears. I agree. Titans, huge. 17, Bears, 9.
To Atlanta we go.
Tannehill, you like that?
The Falcons.
Tannehill.
The Falcons, by the way, played a week ago. Big win for them. A week ago over Theodore in Carolina.
Yes.
The Falcons now think that they have some confidence and they can put a little string together, win some games. Well, an opportunity this week as they play host to the Denver Broncos and their quarterback that no one on their team likes, allegedly.
I don't think they like him.
Yeah, but there's something about this team that's frisky. They're frisky. They say we never give up. And you know why? I was talking to somebody, our guy Albright, when he was talking to the people who do DBD. And he said to me, Philip Lindsay, guy rallies the team. Who cares about Locke, the heart and soul of this team? It's Philip Lindsay. By the way, he's only fumbled, I think, once in 450 carries. Pretty remarkable. They don't give up. You watch that. I had the Chargers D in fantasy. I was watching that game. They gave up like 20 yards of offense and 3 points in the first half. And all of a sudden, they lose that game. The Broncos have 30. Momentum. It's a real thing. They're going to come in there. You got Judy, Noah Fant's healthy, KJ Hamler, Melvin Gordon, Lindsey. I like them. I think this is a big game for the Broncos. Falcons, 27. Broncos, 24.
This is one of those ones on the scores where you go, why? why is this as big as it is? This just shouldn't be this big. I mean, the Falcons won one game, right? If they won two, maybe they won two. They won
two games.
Or am I really to believe that they're this much better than anybody? Which then leads me to say, maybe somebody knows something. Falcons 28, Broncos 23.
I like that. I see what you're doing there. I liked it. I just needed to get off the favorite train. I'm getting in my own head. This is a disaster.
All right. Next up, an interesting one in the NFC South. The Lions starting to make a little noise. The Vikings get a big win last week at Green Bay. 3-win Lions, 2-win Vikings, yet both those teams, I think, very much alive in that division because I'm not buying the Bears, and I'm not sure I'm buying Green Bay these days. Zegura, Vikings, Lions, Colquitt, what say you?
Oh, the Sherling, resplendent. But this is two of our – this is a tough one. This is like –
two of our shows.
You've got to pick between
familiarity,
Bootsy and Pades. You don't want to have to do that. You don't want to make those decisions.
Bootsy.
Sometimes you have to. And I would say between these two teams, the bold, certainly the Leons. They are the Bootsy in this equation, but only if they've got Matt Stafford. That's the real truth. That's the real truth.
That is the real truth.
The Vikings are only going to be jealous if Matt Stafford's playing. So I will say this. Matt Stafford, Lions, 24. Vikings, 19. No Matt Stafford. Chase Daniel, Vikings, 30. Leons, 17. Huh?
Right.
Same.
Called contingencies.
We're owed contingency.
We're owed a contingency on that one. Matt Stafford is significant. We know he is so near and dear to us on DLD. Guy comes on every Monday.
Oh, my gosh. We know him and Kelly. We've been
every Monday.
We've known him all these years. We've been at the family. Come on.
They've been through a lot health-wise.
Of course. We were at the house before he put it up for sale. Like, when we've been there. Come on.
Yes, we've been there. His Monday appearance is a real treat. Every Monday.
Every
Matt
Monday.
Stafford.
He comes
Win
on
or
and talks
lose.
to us. It's amazing.
DLD.
Class.
Sponsored segment. Big one.
Wow.
Yep.
And
Lots
sponsored.
of cash.
Yeah, and sponsored.
All right. Up next, Houston traveling to Jacksonville. This is a runner-up for the worst game of the week. 1-6 at 1-6. Is Minshew? Minshew's not playing. Is Minshew playing?
No.
Minshew's not playing.
What's going on?
Luton. It's Luton
Someone named
time.
Luton.
Bo, are
is
you in
playing.
mourning because your favorite player's not playing? You're up first here, man.
I'm sad that I can't say go to hell Minshew. I've
Just
enjoyed
say it
doing
anyway.
Go to hell Minshew.
Yeah, you can still go to hell.
Go to
He's
hell
on the bench.
Minshew. Houston 38, Jacksonville 30.
Same. When I hear Luton's name, makes me think of Lawrence Mouton, who I used to love back in the day with the Syracuse
Oh, the
Orangemen.
Syracuse.
Yeah, he was one of those
Oh,
guys.
silky smooth swing man.
How did he never materialize? How did he never?
I'm not sure the foot speed was there.
Boy, was he fun to watch in college.
Crafty.
Very
crafty scorer.
Yeah. But it's not
A
like
lot of
Chris Mullen had foot
mid-range
speed
game.
to bring it full circle from our original basketball
I think it
player
was the
discussion.
mid-range game, though, with Mouton. I don't know if he had the range that Mullen had. Like, he was more of a mid-range guy.
Mullen would be. Mullen's slow motion drives to the hole were a thing of beauty, though.
Oh, gosh.
They really
But he
were.
could get him off any angle. he could
Any
get it
angle.
off.
Didn't matter. Did not matter.
Yeah, loved him.
All right. I'm saying, Jags, go straight to hell. And guess what? Not going to get Lawrence. Too bad. Going to the Jets.
Up next, the worst game of the week. Washington, one game out of first in the NFC East at 2-5, taking on a 1-win New York Giant football team. If you could give out a ribbon for effort, the Giants would have got it. Good news, we don't give out ribbons unless you win. Washington hosting the Giants.
Wow.
Zegura.
Boy, this is a tough one for me. Washington so close. You got to feel like there's got to be a hangover there. Plus, you've got Golden Tate brawling with the coaches because of tweets from his better half. Remember, Golden Tate was involved in some other drama a few weeks ago. A lot of drama surrounding.
Wait. Golden Tate. Remind me to tell you a story off air.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. We will move on then. No probing.
Yep.
You don't want any probing on that.
Not on this one.
Okay. Probe removed. Giants. I don't know what to make of this team. I don't think they're good. The Washington football team is kind of sound. Terry McLaurin elevated to a captain. They love him. Riverboat
McLaurin.
Ron
Yep.
getting it done there. I say the Washington football team pulls this one out, And unfortunately, I'm back on the favorite train. The WFT, the Washington
Don't get out of
favorite
your own
team.
head.
Let's go. 30-27. Football.
Football team takes care of business. I'm with you. I think Chase Young, they're coming off a bye. I think they play well. I like what Gibson's doing. That's a nice little squad there. Give me Washington to handle business. We'll go 24-12.
Up next, one of the marquee matchups of the weekend. Some people buy into the Buffalo Bills. I still don't. They are 6-2. They're playing host to Russ Wilson, DK Metcalf, and the Seattle Seahawks 6-1. Boy, how many road trips is I feel like Seattle's coming east every week now for the last 2 years.
They have.
Them
and the Rams. Trips. Rams have come back east a lot.
Yeah,
and there's always a hangover with that. But I don't know if that. I think Russ is just super Russ. So I think they'll be fine. I think Seattle takes care of business here. Close game, and I'm with you on your Allen pick. Seattle 38, Buffalo 34.
Josh Allen, just when you think he's down and out, he says, Russ, you can cook.
No.
But we're interested in just frying up some wings here in Buffalo. That's right.
Duff's.
We're going to go to
Duff's.
Duff's. We're going to get the hot sauce. Yes, and it's going to be glorious.
Is it really that good?
Oh, Duff's is worth the 5-hour drive.
The place that I went to the first time I was there, which was not Duff's.
Anchor Bar? Those are the two,
No,
famous.
it wasn't one of the quote-unquote famous ones. It was one that was like...
Karuch took you to one.
No, it was past leadership.
God, can you imagine the man who birthed this show from his loins just having him as a tour
2014
guide
we're
through
talking.
Buffalo?
Dude.
We went to a great restaurant with Vic. Yeah.
I was going to say,
Of
try
course,
hanging
that's what I'm
out
saying.
with
It
him.
would be amazing.
Try hanging out with him at training camp in upstate New York.
He's a
few
mayor.
days.
He's like the mayor.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, for sure.
Karuch. So, no. But anyway, the best wings. And this place had a bunch of different ones. It wasn't just the hot, whatever. They had a bunch of different. Awesome. Tremendous. The point is, I don't know that the Bills can stop the Seahawks, but I don't know that the Seahawks can stop the Bills. Russ cooks his way to 54 on the scoreboard.
Wow.
54, Seattle. Bills, 57. Pow.
Jesus.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
We got 4 games to go in 3 minutes. Raiders,
Lots of time.
Chargers. Now, the Chargers have made life interesting for a lot of people. Only 2 wins and blowing a lot of games here in the fourth quarter. Zegura. Uh-oh. You're up first, buddy.
Vegas, baby. This is the Battle of L.A. Think of all the hats, all the lore from the Raiders' time in L.A. They still own that town. It's a home game for them. Despite no fans, doesn't matter. I think they showed some heart here. They showed some tenacity, some toughness, and we know they can play from behind. They just showed they could play from ahead. I think the Raiders are about to get hot and make the AFC playoff picture all the more interesting. Unfortunate, because that was a critical one. No letdown under Chucky. Raiders 27, Herbert 24.
Sorry.
Up next, we go to Arizona. This is an interesting little ditty here, Bishop, as we'll start with you. The Dolphins are 4-3. Fitzmagic in some short shorts the other day stretching, but he's not playing. Tua, game number 2 starting against Arizona and Kyler Murray.
If Miami was going with Fitzmagic, this would be close to a pick'em. I really believe that.
I agree.
And there is a little bit of juice on Miami based on what they did to the Rams, but they had a defensive touchdown. They had 3 strip sacks and set him up inside the 5. Tua actually looked bad in the game, really was. They really, the idea that this is this way makes me think, I don't know, it feels like it's not enough. And sometimes when you think that way, you do the opposite. And this time I do the right thing. Arizona gets back on the winning ways in a big way. 31, Miami 20.
I agree. The buck stops here. The hype train 4 in a row. Not going to be 5 in a row. They're going to be going down to Barrio Queen. They are not. And guess what? That could give me the runs. They're not going to be able to run the ball. Myles Gaskin to IR. We are overlooking this. Matt Breed is hurt too. They're down to Jordan Howard. Yep. Come on. The guy averages 2 yards a carry. Patrick Laird. True story. Went to college with my boy Soon. Well, I guess not to him, but the same college. Soon coached him. Some relation there. I don't know what it is, but it's true. Arizona, though, I think this is a laugher. I think this is huge. I think it's Arizona 34, Tua 14.
Yeah, beat them.
All right, here we go. We got 2 games in less than 60 seconds. Steelers, Cowboys.
Steelers, billion.
From the Big D.
Billion.
What is the number that would make you not? And by the way, this should be the Steelers against the Nooch.
22.5.
Give me more of the Nooch. I don't think there's a number.
3.5
I
touchdowns?
really truly believe if the Steelers offense never played the game that the Steelers would still win this. They put Joe Hayden at quarterback.
What an interesting thought out of you. I've never heard that before. That's an interesting thought.
I'm glad I came up with it in probably the first segment, maybe the second. I don't know.
All right,
independently on your own, yeah.
Final game, Sunday night, Saints, Buccaneers, rematch from Week 1. Saints won. Can they pull off a second one? Tampa Bay hosting. Bishop, go ahead.
They cannot.
Oh.
Bucks, revenge. 31, Saints, 24.
Revenge is a dish best served cold, and that's what Tom's going to do. Throw a little ice water on the Saints.
Trickle on down to St. Elmo's.
But he's going to do it in the most devastating fashion. The Saints up 28-24. Tom's got the ball. Brady. Antonio Brown, touchdown, 31-28, Bucks.
Oh, wow. CBD, 850, ESPN Cleveland. Reminder, Browns fans, tonight at 7, the Kevin Stefanski Show presented by Howard Hanna on the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns Radio Network. Coach and Browns punter Jamie Gillen will join the program tonight. And a reminder, tomorrow, Baker Mayfield will join the program. Jim Donovan as well. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. Also, he'll from Coach and Andrew Berry. Enjoy that one a great deal, my friends. Have a great bye weekend.
Yes.
The next level is coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN.